What if the way you push air out of your lungs each day is quietly training your blood vessels to stay tight and your blood pressure to run high?
Welcome to Dr. Mercola's Cellular Wisdom. Stay informed with quick, easy-to-listen summaries of our latest articles, perfect for when you're on the go. No reading required. Subscribe for free at mercola.com for the latest health insights.
Hello, and welcome to Dr. Mercola's Cellular Wisdom. I'm Ethan Foster, and today we're examining how everyday breathing patterns can raise or lower your baseline blood pressure, why short-term fixes often fail, and what it means for your brain over the long haul.
I'm Alara Skye. Nearly half of American adults have high blood pressure, many without knowing it. You may feel fine while your heart strains and your vessels stiffen. When symptoms do show up, headaches, fatigue, dizziness, trouble concentrating, they tend to be late signals. Today, we're focusing on a driver most people overlook: the way you breathe.
Blood pressure control isn't a single number on a cuff. It's the cumulative result of daily patterns. Medication helps many, yet a large share of treated adults still miss healthy targets. That gap points to nervous system signals that keep pressure elevated. Breathing feeds those signals all day long, making it a practical lever you can adjust.
Researchers have mapped a key circuit in your brainstem, the lateral parafacial area, that activates during forced exhalation. When this region fires, sympathetic nerves surge, blood vessels constrict, heart rate rises, and blood pressure climbs. The striking part is that this effect shows up even without exercise or emotional stress.
In experiments, artificially activating that circuit triggered immediate abdominal exhalations and a spike in sympathetic nerve activity, with blood pressure rising in lockstep. Passive relaxed breathing behaved differently. When you let air leave your lungs without abdominal pushing, the pressure-raising pathway stayed quiet. That contrast explains why calm breathing reduces strain instead of amplifying it.
Silencing the circuit normalized blood pressure in hypertensive models, suggesting that in many cases the problem isn't permanent vascular damage, but an overactive signal you can influence. Oxygen-sensing cells near your carotid arteries add another link. When oxygen dips, during episodes like sleep apnea or shallow breathing, these sensors trigger forced breathing and, at the same time, activate the blood pressure circuit.
Daily habits can keep this system stuck on. Repeated coughing-like exhalations, hard breathwork drills, or frequent abdominal bracing repeatedly flip the switch, tightening vessels again and again. Over time, those surges accumulate, especially if you're already prone to elevated readings.
The stakes reach beyond your heart. Long-term cumulative exposure to high blood pressure shrinks brain tissue and undermines cognition. When researchers tracked blood pressure burden over about 15 years and compared it to brain scans and testing, higher cumulative pressure correlated with smaller total and gray matter volumes and lower cognitive scores.
Regions tied to memory and planning, the frontal lobe, temporal lobe, and hippocampus, were most affected. People with the highest cumulative systolic pressure lost brain volume equivalent to more than a walnut, reduced cerebral blood flow, layered on additional harm, starving neurons of oxygen and compounding structural loss over time.
The damage followed a recognizable pattern: injury to small vessels, disruption of the blood-brain barrier, inflammatory signaling, oxidative stress, and impaired neuron communication. The key insight is that single spot checks missed the risk. What mattered was keeping pressure lower consistently, which makes daily breathing habits more than a relaxation technique. They're a long-term investment in your brain.
Before technique, address baseline chemistry. Most sodium in modern diets comes from ultra-processed foods, boxed snacks, canned meals, deli meats, sauces, and fast food that are stripped of potassium. Potassium supports vessel relaxation. When you shift toward whole foods like fruit, root vegetables, and well-cooked leafy greens, potassium rises and sodium settles into a range your kidneys manage well. That lowers background vessel tension, so nervous system calming can actually work.
Now apply breathing with precision. Slow your rhythm to about 6 breaths per minute, roughly 5 seconds in and 5 seconds out, for 10 to 15 minutes. This pace improves pressure sensing, smooths heart rate, reduces sympathetic output, and lowers blood pressure during the session. If 5 seconds feels difficult, Start with 4s and progress. The goal is comfort, not strain.
Let the exhale happen passively. Keep your abdomen soft and avoid pushing air out. Forced exhalation is the trigger for the pressure-raising circuit. A passive exhale keeps it quiet. If you catch yourself bracing, pause and release tension. Then continue at the same slow tempo.
Keep your mouth closed and breathe through your nose. Nasal breathing steadies airflow and reduces stimulation of oxygen-sensing pathways linked to spikes. Keep the jaw loose and allow the lower ribs to expand gently on each inhale. This supports calmer cardiovascular signaling during the session and throughout the day.
Avoid breathing practices built around hard abdominal effort. Aggressive, repetitive exhale drills recruit the very muscles and brainstem circuit that tighten vessels and raise pressure. Removing those practices is often more effective than adding new ones because you eliminate a daily trigger.
Practice once or twice a day and watch how you respond. Warmer hands, a slower pulse, and clearer thinking are useful signals. Beyond dedicated sessions, use the same slow, nasal, passive pattern during everyday stress, before a tough conversation, in traffic, or when you open a full inbox. Even 3 to 5 breaths can interrupt a rising surge.
Remember that improvement is cumulative. Because long-term exposure drives risk, each calm session is a small reduction that compounds. Consistency matters more than intensity. Pairing a steadier mineral balance from whole foods with quieted breathing signals gives you 2 levers working in the same direction.
If you monitor at home, expect variation day to day, but look for a trend toward lower readings after sessions and fewer spikes during stress. Consider how often you catch yourself pushing air out. Replacing force with passivity during exhale is a single change with outsized impact.
Make your environment support the habit. Sit comfortably, set a simple timer, and keep your mouth closed as you breathe. If you wake at night and notice shallow breathing, return to the same pattern until you feel calm. Over time, you train your baseline toward a quieter state.
Your brain benefits from this practice as much as your heart. By keeping pressure lower more consistently, you protect gray matter, support blood flow, and preserve the regions you rely on for memory, attention, and decision-making. That payoff accumulates over years, not minutes.
Here's your challenge. Today, complete one 10-minute session of slow nasal breathing with passive exhales, then repeat tomorrow. For the next week, notice and remove moments of forced exhalation during daily tasks, and shift at least 1 meal per day toward potassium-rich whole foods instead of ultra-processed options. Thank you for watching Dr. Mercola's Cellular Wisdom. We'll see you on the next episode.
Thanks for watching. Subscribe now and click the notification bell so you never miss an update. See you in the next video.